Hello, everybody, and I pressed the wrong intro video. Oops.
I was gonna say that didn't.
Yeah. Cool, I got us covered. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Stat Check episode 71. This is Taking Up Dirtsheets. Sponsors. Hello, everybody. I am Innes. I am joined by Nathan and Anthony.
God damn it.
It's a separate thing. Like, don't worry about it. And
a whole
we also
other
this
button.
week have us with us Frank from 40k Dirtsheets, who we will give a chance to talk us all about himself in just a second. Anthony, if you want to recover in any kind of professional capacity.
Yeah, I'm the problem here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I just said.
Okay.
I feel like that was
I'm gonna
Anthony's
say
face when he
that-
found out people were putting Exalted in rhinos.
I've never been more disappointed in Nos.
It's way funnier that I did a better job as a very tech illiterate person at doing our intro thing.
Well, Innes isn't tech literate, he's just a zoomer.
Yeah, but I assume that those two things are just the same thing most of the time.
Not at all.
No.
I mean,
No, damn.
50-50. Like, I vaguely remember like the life before the internet, but not very well. So
Yeah.
Oh, Saltier Games calling us a GW level stream is the
All right.
insult of like
Yeah,
the
fucking-
week.
we'll put a
Rewind
Age of
it
Sigmar
in.
podcast, and we'll just like between us back and forth.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that'd be fun.
Oh, that would be funny actually if we did that one week. We just like switched it back and forth.
We'll do that when we
randomly.
do our balanced data slate review.
Yeah, right when we get to something interesting, we'll switch to the Sigmar podcast. We'll talk about that for a bit. We'll come back and we'll be into like talking about Necrons or something no one cares about.
We can figure it out. We'll do it. We'll do it though.
As opposed to all the normal times on the stream where we talk about things that everybody cares about. Anyway, we're going to be doing a few things this week. We're going to have our usual stats breakdown. We're going to be going a bunch of detail into Dirtsheets, which is why we have Frank with us this week, and we'll give Frank a chance to introduce himself in a second. And then we'll be doing the usual soul questions, a bunch of which are aimed at Frank as well. He's down there. So if you've got any question you want to ask before us beginning the show, if you're in our Patreon Discord, drop it in there. Otherwise, chuck it in the chat and we'll get to it if we can, or chuck a super chat at us and we'll definitely make sure we get to it. Let's start, though, with Nathan. We'll do Nathan, then Anthony, then myself, and then we'll let Frank introduce himself before we launch into stats.
That way, this way, up, around.
Exactly. We're going to go in
There's
like a
no-
weird... We're going to try and go in like... We're going to try and summon the devil, or we're going to do like the vital intelligence mission.
Yeah.
Check
We're
Yeah.
gonna roll 3 6s of Res Angron.
You
directly
know,
into a
wouldn't
rhino.
be so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. My weekend was fine. I don't really remember anything about my weekend anymore for
Were
some
you on
reason.
last
It's like
week?
just
Yeah,
empty.
you were. That's fine.
I was on last week. I don't remember
work?
our episode. I did work, actually. Yes, I did. Thank you for that. I don't
A
know.
ringing endorsement of the pharmaceutical industry and selling out, if nothing else, that is.
It's true. I mean, I also learned that my university is trying something vaguely union busty, which is detailed in our Discord. For
Ah,
people
good.
who are interested.
I'm gonna give a hearty fuck those guys.
It's reasonable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I played some World Eaters, which is always kind of a blast and a half. I painted some World Eaters, which is also fun because I 3D printed skull bases for them.
How
Which are
much
literally
money-
just a carpet of skulls.
How
So
much money do I have to pay you for you to 3D print an Exalted 8-bound to be the driver of your rhino?
I could just put one on top with chains that he's holding, just like steering it
Like
that
Mad
way.
Max riding it?
Yeah, I'll do that for you. It's really easy to do that, actually.
Yeah.
Good, because I wasn't going to pay you very much money to do that. But
I know you weren't, but so I went with the lowest effort, lowest cost option.
There you go.
Easy peasy. But yeah, they're like literally just a carpet of skulls. I've printed some cool 3D printed like gooey hands that are going to be reaching out on Angron's base. I based all the 3D printed bases in a. Yeah, I could do that, but with an Exalted 8-bound that make a rhino. That's actually a lot harder than you think it is, but I could probably still figure it out. But I'm not going to do it because my hobby time's already limited enough that
Anthony,
Innes's suggestion is going to tax it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm having a blast playing World Eaters. I continue to be sad that I didn't take Anthony's advice earlier for playing them. So if Anthony tells you should do something because he knows how you play 40k, then you should probably just do it and be happier. That's really just my answer to that.
Whether that's not using a pyropod or starting World Eaters, either of these you should just listen to.
It's true, especially when Anthony knows he's probably going to win anyways if he just it gives you the right advice.
Just don't do the stupid thing, please.
Just he knew right away when I didn't just take banners and like we couldn't just sit there and stare at each other
Guys,
and
no one has
die,
a fucking clue
basically.
what you're talking about.
We'll just keep going. Anthony, who are we going to next? Are we going to Frank next?
Was it me?
Are we though?
Yes.
No, we
Who's
are going to
next?
you, Frank. Go. I
Ooh,
don't
no,
know.
it's Frank. It's me. Innocent me.
Okay.
It was, yeah.
Fine.
God
We're just
damn
doing
it,
this and
Nathan.
no.
We're gonna run the Red Dragon spot again, right? It'll be less.
Just get yelled at by the Red Dragon ad. What did I do with my weekend? I was disappointed in Nos. I went to a play.
Isn't that every weekend?
I was
Where
a
did
bit.
you go to?
I was more disappointed in Nos. Like the Christmas Carol one with the ghosts of past, present, and future. It was cool because yeah, it was like one dude did all the roles, so it was kind of interesting, and he did the whole thing with like 4 props. It was kind of cool. So yeah, I did that. I did some AWS training stuff that I've been doing. I got to be excited about the release of the Flesh Eater Court stuff. Love that. I don't think there's really anything else. We got more signups for the Team USA Pyro Cup stuff. Woo! We're gonna be there. Got to confirm that today. And then I got really confused when someone named Matt was confirming that Scotland was going because I was like, no one has that power but Innes. And then I was like, oh right, he has a co-captain now.
Innes gave away all of his power. I actually confirmed. He just said that we might need more rooms.
Yeah, whatever it was. I saw someone say like something Scotland, and I was like, who are you? Is there a second Scotland? What the fuck is this?
I'm gonna be honest. I read it and I was really confused that it was Matt Robertson talking about Scotland. I'm like,
I
what?
also thought that's what was happening. I was like, all right. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much. I didn't really do anything interesting. It's been a lot of like pseudo prep. This is going to be a lot of my weeks going forward because I don't have a tournament until Pyro Cup. So it's going to be a lot of like Anthony does miscellaneous new job and random Team USA admin work. Woo! For the next couple of weeks. But yeah, aside from that, nothing really interesting. Oh, I started playing WoW again. Does that count?
It counts as the opposite of productive.
It's felt great. Like the new expansion is really fun. It's probably the most fun it's been in like my memory. They're doing a really good job. Good job, Blizzard. That's pretty much it. I don't have anything else good to say. Blizzard greater than signed Games Workshop.
I'm not sure that's true. I don't know if you've been reading the news recently, but Blizzard's not a
recent Games Blizzard only in terms of how the games go.
Right. Okay. Cool. Let's not make this an endorsement of Blizzard the company anytime.
Yeah, I don't have whatever. Like their corporate side, I'm sure they do fucked up corporate people shit, but like the game is good.
That's fair.
Preston's also fun right now. All right, what'd you do, Innes?
I went to a Team Scotland practice day, which was super cool. It was our first one of the season, so we had most of our team there. We bashed a bunch of games together, prepping for our little got a team event on Saturday. So I ran Jack's Black Templars list just to kind of get a feel for it, and I hate it. I do not like it at all.
Oh, it's so good. What do you mean you don't like it?
I've played 4 games with it. They've all been super cool games. I just hate playing it. I don't enjoy it.
Not enough stuff, too much box.
I really want a dude to hold my home objective, man, just so badly alone up to stand on my home objective so that I don't just die or like have scouts there that just die. I'm like, please just give me something.
How much indirect did you play against in those 4 games?
Quite a lot.
Okay.
Ooh.
Like triple night spinner, triple whirlwind, then another night spinner. I'm just like, why is my land raider on objective? Yeah. Not a huge fan of that, but yeah, 3 PVCs as well.
Oh, nice, strong.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I played every game I played against 10 indirect platforms in 4 games.
I love 40k.
It's great right now, really fun. And then the last one was like Celeste ingressing on my home objective. I'm like, well, I can't hold this with scouts. Yeah, great times in Warhammer. I also got to play a couple games of Star Wars Legion, teaching the Saltar games guys how to play that. So we'll hopefully be getting a bunch more games in with that. Running Darth Vader around like a Harlequin is super fun. And I've been painting a bunch of Tyranids. I've been rebasing my Demacarons onto Norn Emissary size bases.
Oh,
going
dude,
through
how was Swarm Life?
That was like 2 weeks ago. We spoke
Yeah,
about that
but-
last week.
Oh, I guess we did talk about it a bit last week. I feel like you weren't hyped enough about it.
I'm pretty sure what I said was that list. I played Unending Storm and RTT, and I had enough fun with it to be like, I would play that if I had the models, but not enough fun to go and buy 100 Termagants. That's kind of like where I fell on that spectrum. Was like, if 100 Termagants fell out of the sky on 28.5s, I would consider playing it.
Oh, why would you say that when Dan listens to this show? You fucking fool!
You fool!
You absolute moron!
He's experienced the import tax of sending stuff to the UK. Dan has sent me a package that'll be arriving tomorrow, and I'll be opening on next week's show. That I'm pretty sure he's paid over 200 British pounds of import fees on, and I don't think it's worth 200 pounds of stuff inside it. So I think he might like realize he bit off more than he could chew shipping stuff to Scotland. So you guys getting harassed, or he'll keep sending me more. And either way, honestly, it's funny either way now. So
he theoretically could like 3D print 1 million Termagants on bases and just charge you for.
I'm not dealing with
resin.
3D. I'm not dealing with 3D printed Termagants. No.
I just saying it would be funny if they just showed up.
Not doing that. I'm not doing. They'd have to literally fall out of the sky and they'd all shatter because they'd be resin. They'd be great. So yeah, painting a bunch of nids. I forgot how much I hate trying to paint like nid carapace around nid. Like it's so much model, and then like the black always chips off on all the like the really sharp surfaces. It's just awful. So yeah, I'm gonna have to learn to varnish by Friday. But yeah, other than that, we're prepping for a team tournament. So I've got Typhus and Myson, as well as Brian and Chris from Team America and Team Scotland playing on my team. So we're playing a roster of no Eldar, no CSM. So we have Sisters, Orcs, Gene Stealer Cults, Tyranids, and Space Marines. It's going to be good fun. We've been grudged for round 1 by a team that's got 30 Wraithguard. So yeah, it's going to be great.
I mean, those Wraithguard are fucked. There's not much else in that list, I imagine.
It's like 15 Swooping Hawks and a Night Spinner and some characters.
What's the Marine build?
Our Marine build is my Ironstorm list from Worlds.
Oh, we are taking bad lists. Okay.
That's what we said.
Yeah, that's
also,
fair.
Fuck you.
I'll look at.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm pretty sure my Norns explode on contact with like 4 of their 5 lists, which is going to be cool. They have like broadside Tau and start feeling a little targeted.
Yeah, that is a little targeted. You guys are going to need Typhus to carry. That's going to be the idea.
Typhus' sisters are going to carry. Yeah, I can feel that coming. Yeah,
that's someone's got to do it.
So yeah, obviously we'll be back next week with. I'll be back next week with a bit of a rundown on how that event went because I love teams and it's great to get to play 5-man teams in Scotland, which is not something we've done before. Biggest event we've done teams wise is 4s. So yeah, it's super cool. Now let's move on. Frank, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do in 40K and why anyone should care about what you have to say. Mostly the last bit.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm like I don't know if I can do that, but yeah, so Dirtsheets is basically like the metadata dashboard.
Frank, introduce yourself first. Who are you? What do you play?
Oh yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, I'm Frank. I play Marines. I played Space Wolves, Successors in 9th, and then into World Eaters at end of night because that book was ridiculous. And then into 10th, I played Dark Angels, but then I saw what Jack did with Templars, and I'm like, what if I did that, but like an objectively not as good version of that list in 2 weeks for a GT. So that's what I'm working on right now. Because Hellbrecht lethaling on 5s is the dumbest shit. And then I've still got World Eaters in the cabinet, which waiting for Angron on Christmas. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, so that's what I play. I guess now I'll talk about the Dirtsheet stuff. So basically, Dirtsheets is just like the metadata dashboard, only instead of tracking factions, it tracks units. So characters, enhancements that they take, war gear loadouts, unit sizes, how often does a particular unit show up in a given list. So I basically listened to X1, listened to Tim talk about how he did that for demons. And I was like, well, an edition just launched. What if we just did that for everybody? And then started ironing out the entire process over the course of like the 10th beta, which was the first 3 months of 10th. And now we're here. We've got a pretty good setup going on. So we got ways to track different units. We can now dig into how often stuff shows up in event winning lists versus stuff that's making top cut versus stuff that's making X and 1 or better, so you can get a much better view of like what's good if you want to like win an event with a given faction versus like what'll get you just close to the top. And we can see what kind of broken nonsense GW should probably nerf and will probably not over the course of data slates. So yeah, that's what we got cooking over here.
And we should be showing off like some examples of like how you can use it and some stuff you can do with it as we roll into the later sections. But
Yeah,
broadly,
I guess nobody asked me about my weekend, but I mean that's fine. I'll just talk about
yeah, I mean, you can keep talking. It's fine. I'm just following up the points, Frank. You need to learn to roll with the punches, man. Like, come on.
Oh no, socializing's hard.
Have you played Warhammer recently? You've been to any tournaments? You prepping for your GT? You did already talk about.
Yeah, I got a GT next weekend, which I'm prepping for. I've been repping a lot of like a version of Jack's list because I don't have 3 impulsors. So I'm just like trying to get a feel for that. It's harder than just being able to go, here's 10 Deathwing Knights, you probably can't kill it, to being able to go, oh wait, yeah, my dudes can die in like 1 activation. But
Deathwing Knights are so cool.
they're so fucking good. I was semi-tempted to enter a list that had the lion in it again but then I didn't.
And you remembered how well that went last time, and we're like, maybe not.
I remember it went well-ish in Nova, but then I also remembered that was when Desolators were really good. So I was like, how much of that was him and the 10 Desolate? And then, yeah. And then I remembered failing a 5-inch charge into 20 Acolyte hybrids against TJ at BFS, and then him shooting an old man. So yeah. Got a GT that I'm prepping for. I've been playing over the weekend in the Vibe Check League. Got a casually 20-0'd by Liam VSL, who woke up at 4 a.m. just to clown on me with Eldar. So I looked at him and I was like, I think I have an okay matchup. There's no Yinkarn, there's no Night Spinners, and then he just kept putting Warp Spiders 2.9 inches around my Rhino, and then me realizing, oh, I can't get anybody out, and I can't move.
Yeah. There was none of the meta units, and there was unfortunately the big tall Belgian piloting, and that's much scarier.
Yeah. I got Fugened. I like charged in and I was like, yeah, like 2 Sword Brethren should like maybe pick him up, and then they did it, and then Fugen killed like the entire unit on the crack pack, and I was like, oh, this is what this feels like. I don't like this. So yeah.
He's a bad man. Both of the people, by the way. Both Liam and Fuegen.
It was funny, we were chatting afterwards, and I was like, yeah, this was a great game, and then he actually said, like, I mean, like, it kind of wasn't a great game, like, solely in the matchup side, but it's just funny because the text was like, I mean, it wasn't a great game, but I was like, wait, but, like, it was fun-ish. I mean, I learned.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just beat you up for an hour. This wasn't great.
I mean, I fucked around, and I found out, which is important.
The upshot is that Liam likes to roosh, so you find out quickly, at least.
Yeah, man. I was like, yeah, I'm going to punch these bikes off this point with my Smash Captain. Do damage. He's like, cool, I'm just going to, like, continue to not let you move your Land Raider. And I was like, oh, wait. That's...
Oh, no.
I'm like, oh, no, that's 700 points. That's just holding my backfield.
Oh.
There are 700 points held in this Land Raider by Warp Spiders holding the door closed with their hand.
I like to imagine it's one hand. That just like one of them is just like
nah.
No.
It's like OSHA regulations don't allow you to open the door when someone's that close.
Yeah. They use the like spider web thing that they shoot to like zip the like the hatch closed. Anyway.
Well, if only we had really some sharp implement we could cut these webs with.
Yeah, no.
Like, dude, have sword brethren. They're like, I don't know, man. I got nothing.
You get Spider-Man into your box.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah.
Hey,
also, sounds dirty.
That's new. We've not had Typhus money laundering with us yet.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, just remember, Typhus, check out the castle. It does exist.
Be careful. It's easy to miss.
Okay, on to stats. I also just got a funny message from my confused parents who received a package from Red Dragon.
Oh, no.
Dragon, no.
Because my PayPal is not updated properly. So, yeah, they got They got an Angron delivered to them, and they don't know why it's there. All right. Stats. Wasn't like a ton this weekend. There's like a little bit of a shuffle at the top, but it's not changed like a lot of what people's perceptions are of the meta right now. So I don't know how interesting it is. So we'll go through that relatively quickly. People can tell me about how Eldar broken some more, and we can have a good time with that. But honestly, Chaos Space Marines are the best performing faction of the weekend from most metrics, including win rate and GT wins. They had 67 players, 7.6% meta representation. They won 60.2% of their games. They had 3 GT wins, 9 top 4s, and 18 top 10s for a 1.89 overrep, which is basically the only category they didn't lead this weekend.
It's a lot of games.
Yep. Black Templars were next. 30 players, 3.4% meta representation. Basically, Black Templars are just going to permanently be in the top 5 as long as they continue doing.
So they're like 7 players, and they're all having a great time.
It's true. With their 7 impulsors, with Meltas, probably.
They're just free 5-point Meltas.
God damn it, Kevin.
1 event win, 3 top 4s, and 7 top 10s for them with a 1.4 overrep. And then Sisters of Battle popping in the top 3. 21 players, 2.4 meta representation, 56.9 for their win rate. No event wins, though. 3 top 4s, 5 top 10s, and a 2 for overrep because they do have such a low meta representation overall. So it kind of
decided to draw with Admech round 1 at this tournament.
Vic, damn it, disappointment. And then
I think that was sandbagging. I'm just gonna say it.
Sandbagging did not be able to make top 4.
Yeah, he just wanted to get out of there. He was like, "Oh, I went undefeated. Bye."
I think he played CSM this weekend anyway, didn't he?
Yeah.
Doesn't even work, but
whatever. And then Craft World Eldar are in 4th place overall for the weekend, just dropping like a stone into the well-balanced territory. 69 players, 7.8% meta representation, 55.9% win rate, 2 GT wins, 10 top 4 appearances, 17 top 10s for a 2.04 overrep. And then Leagues of Votann in 5th, 3.3% meta representation, a 55.2% win rate, 0 GT wins, 1 top 4, and 7 top 10s for a 0.48 meta overrep. So yeah, that's the top 5. Super interesting, I know, for everybody. Space Marines did win 3 GTs over the weekend, so they are doing okay, it seems, as long as they're taking Iron Storm, I assume, and Firestorm as well. If you look at the metadata dashboard numbers.
Vanguard, right? For regular Space Marines? Surely it's Vanguard.
I think there's one.
It might also be
there's
Vanguard.
1 Iron Storm, 1 Fire, 1 Vanguard.
Ooh.
Balance.
One of each.
A mix.
And then for the bottom 5,
right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's 1 week of data, right? So who knows what it means anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't have to get crazy.
It's true.
I hope GW does.
No. That's
No.
just true. That's never been the case.
The bottom
Doesn't have to
5
be crazy.
is mostly made up of non-codex compliant chapters. Death Watch, which only had 4 players and a 38.9% win rate. Blood Angels with 11 players and a 40.4% win rate.
Oh.
And then Gene Stealer Colts kind of being the surprise at the bottom, 11 players and a 40.8% win rate.
Kind of stuck.
Just you're pretty good.
Yeah, but they're pretty good into everything that nobody plays right now.
Everyone's playing. Lots of stuff is getting played. And they have a decent game into Eldar.
I don't know.
It might just be because instead of having top level competitive people playing it, they don't have really anybody really playing it.
They just got ditched.
Yep. And that's why TJ and McDougal had wonderful times at WCW.
That's not exactly a representative thing. You had a wonderful time at WCW.
I did. I don't
Continue
know,
on with the
I just
bottom
feel like
5.
GSC aren't that great right now.
They're fine.
Yeah, but I don't feel like they are.
I don't know what are you gonna like. What are you gonna do to them?
usually just run at them until they die. It works
No,
pretty
I meant
well.
like, what are you gonna do to improve them?
Oh, I mean, like I would split acolytes with demo charges and acolytes with melee weapons to different data sheets.
Oh,
and
we're
make
gonna just
acolytes with
rewrite the index. Fine.
just like do what they did with Giselle with Radium Giselle Dragoons, so that you
Yeah.
can make one of them like actually a pointed unit,
Dude,
and then you
in
can maybe
June-
give that book melee, and then it'd probably be fine.
Dude, they can do that in June. It'll be great when they get a
But
codex.
You're right.
I mean, I wish we had a way to point actual war gear individually.
That sounds like
the weird
communism,
gear,
Frank.
but
How
that
dare
yeah,
you.
that sounds like some red talk.
That's right up there with fucking chess clocks. Don't you do that?
Are you saying we should move away from glorified power level and do like actual levels
whoa.
of balance
Whoa,
where
whoa,
we can
whoa.
pull some different
Well, guys,
Games
power
Work-
level's dead. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
Games Workshop heard that we didn't like power level and
Got
removed
rid
it.
of it.
Yeah. Relax.
Okay, we're going to continue with the bottom 5 of the meta
Yeah.
for a second. Dark Angels are 4th from the bottom, but they won a GT over the weekend and have a 0.88 for overrep,
Good
so I
for
think they're
them.
fine.
I think that GT was Katana actually with a Storm Raven, so
That is true. That's real life. Yeah.
it's the world. We live in a society.
Yeah. Storm Ravens.
And then there's a sec.
Nas and I got the wrong goddamn plane.
Yeah. Well, you should have took the Thunderhawk like we learned at Cali Cup. At least that had a winning record.
I'm not sure that can deploy on, because that guy had to build it sideways so that it could fit in deployment zones, and I don't personally consider that to be.
That's legal as far as I'm concerned.
And then Custodes players rejoice. You continue to be competitively abandoned and be a terrible faction in meta statistics. Only 18 players this
Good.
weekend, 2% meta representation, dropping like a stone really from the heydays of nearly marine level representation for Custodes.
Yeah.
A 42.3% win rate, 1 top 4, and 1, which is the top 10 that they also got for a 0.78 for overrep.
There is no faction I root against harder. Nah, maybe Tau. Nope, still Custodes.
And then Tyranids kind of going to be the last faction that I talk about since it's a non-marine faction that's in the bottom. 52 players, 5.9% meta representation, a 43.9% win rate, a GT win, 3 top 4s, 8 top 10s, and a 0.8 for overrep.
The book's going to be so great in 6 months.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been saying that for about 6 months. Don't worry about
6
it.
more months.
6 more months, yeah.
6 more months.
We'll
till
keep
good
saying
book.
for 6 months. And then just
Yeah.
because Anthony is here, World Eaters had 50 players for a 5.6% meta representation, a 51% win rate, and then are continuing their trend of just not winning events unless Anthony is around to do it. With
World
6
Eaters
top
so
4s, 9 top 10s, and a 1.69 over rep because they have all those top 4s.
Good job, boys. Excellent
So
work
good, man.
of just
So
getting
good.
top 4s and occasional wins. Excellent work.
Just going to keep them out of GW's balance slate for January, right? That's what we're going to do.
If only
And
Nas
I-
could close.
In an ideal world, they make it to August. But I'll take January.
They're not making it to August, I don't think.
Come on! It's going to be fine.
I don't know if that's true, but, you know.
They'd have
And
to
then-
start with
I
results to not make it to
Hope for
August.
your sake that they do.
They have to put up
Because I want you
results
to, I
not
want you
make
to
it
get to have
August,
fun
right?
at WTC for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to put up results to not make it to August, right? And that doesn't happen terribly consistently.
It's true. That's true for most armies right now, to be fair, though. The meta is very weird.
Yeah.
And then Nas donating
No.
£2
No,
to talk
don't
about
even
the
say
Exalted
it.
Express.
Return it.
He's not.
I can't
Anthony, he sent
decline
you
it.
like
There's not a
30
way
cents.
to do that.
You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I could put him in timeout if you want me to do
Oh,
that. Do you want me to
God.
put Nas in timeout?
No. I
In
just
general,
want-
yes, but specifically right now, not really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I need to
All
know
right, we're
that
going to
I'm
continue
just
on our way then, I
disappointed.
suppose.
We need to get like a just like an like we have the red dragon. I just need like an interrupt button, just 1 second of interrupt whenever someone says like Exalted Express.
Yeah.
just
Yeah, just times you out.
just goes to shut up.
Yeah.
It's just Anthony
sure
zooming
that-
in and going back up.
I'm sure we could get somebody to write us a YouTube bot just to do that. Just for
I mean, I could just press a button on StreamYard and it would do it. It would just be funny.
Yeah.
It's true. All right, we have like slow rolled our way through a very not exciting week of statistics in a way that is profoundly on brand for us, I suppose.
Great work, everybody.
Great work, everybody. We're
Generation,
doing
we done
great.
it.
Just amazing. Check in 2 more weeks for like data from new book factions, I suppose. I don't know.
Here's
Because I
hoping.
know somebody's going to ask how AdMech and Necrons inevitably place like right after the book is released this weekend, since I believe the pre-order is up this weekend.
Yeah, check back in January because there's not going to be any events after those points are real.
Also true.
Yeah.
There'll be like a couple Christmas-esque.
Yeah. If you're a Necrons player, check back in January. If you're an AdMech player, check back in 11th.
Truth. I mean, it'll take that long for people to save up money to be able to afford the competitive builds for that faction that I've been seeing floated around after the like previews.
Every time AdMech gets a points buff, it's my favorite thing because the dollar per point of that army gets like more and more outrageous.
Yeah, I think I talked about it last week. Somebody was talking about doing a Dragoon like Giselle and like Iron Strider bill, and I was like, guys, that's like $900 just in Dragoons, Iron Striders, and Giselle Dragoons.
Because the Iron Strider is 45, or the
It's the same kit,
Donian
dog.
Dragoon is it's 45 points in the like. The
Oh.
Oh yeah,
right.
I mean,
it is
and they're
£37.50, which means it's like $800.
Yeah.
it's $60 US. Yes,
Yeah.
I believe that's right. It might not be right anymore. And then the tanks are like $100 a piece or something like that. It's really ridiculous. That army's model points cost is
Insulting.
and dollars price is insultingly high.
Could you imagine being like a GSC Sisters and AdMech player? Like you just wouldn't have money. Like,
Or you
Or
are the
maybe-
wealthiest 40K player. I don't know.
I was gonna say, or you started with money and that's how you got there.
I'm pretty sure if you owned 2 of those 3 factions, it didn't matter how much you started with, you're broke now. Like,
You started from the top, now you here.
All right.
you
Now we're
really
going to
cocaine
transition
habit.
into probably why 80 people are watching, I assume, because it's not
That's
for
Anthony.
the-
We all know that.
It's true.
Anthony,
Anthony
stare
is
at the camera.
extremely popular. Yeah. Give the people what they want, Anthony.
Yeah, just get real close. If I didn't have the cat, I'd get closer.
There you go. You'll get real close now.
Mhm.
Begrudgingly getting close, not even really wanting to. It's like fine,
That's
I
what I was looking for.
guess. All right,
All right, Frank.
Let's
Let's talk Dirtsheets. Tell us some of the cool stuff you can do with Dirtsheets. Show it off a bit. Why should people care about Dirtsheets?
You can even share your screen if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can do that.
Can present, dude. I'm gonna mute myself because I don't have anything productive to add right now.
I'm just gonna keep chatting shit. It'll be fine.
I was going to say Innes never mutes himself, and he is always talking shit.
Yeah, but like sometimes what he says is productive. I have a low % chance of being helpful here. It's like during the stats when all I have to add is banter.
All right, I'm gonna attempt to share Tableau. I don't know how you can tell if you can see my screen or not.
On the bottom, it says present.
Yeah, click that.
And then one of
Share
the people
screen.
with tech abilities have to hit add to stream or something. Maybe.
That sounds about right. We should definitely try around this.
No, it's much
probably.
funnier this way though.
It is definitely way
This
funnier
is the
to
content
watch.
people want.
Yeah,
Be careful with your
with
tabs, Frank.
yeah, careful with the tabs. Watch
We don't
out.
want no bread.
I'm on my work computer, so the tabs are gonna be pretty boring, or not if you're in the risk management.
Yeah, it depends on how strict your work is about them tabs, I suppose. I want to know 3 dirt sheets, says Nas. I hope they're exalted rhinos. And
I'm gonna quickly skim through the super chat questions that came in while Frank is sorting stuff because there's a few
Alright.
of them. So Ben said cat, which I approve. Gannon said, "What's Frank's stance on pineapples on pizza?"
Absolutely not. Get out of here.
Gone.
and he's the greatest authority as he's wearing a pizza shirt.
Typhus is 2 days till Edinburgh, so Typhus is coming over for my team event, which is super awesome. And then Nas said Exalted Express. So yeah, but people not really grasping the concept of questions. Ben,
Has
But-
any Has anybody been able to see anything?
No, not a
on my-
single thing. No.
God damn it.
What you can try and do is what I do at work and have someone else stream and then tell them where to point, which is always funny.
Yeah, I might have to do that.
Nathan?
All right. What am I going to do? Because where am I clicking, bud?
All right, do you see, is it in Tableau? Is that where you are?
Open the
You just
website.
You open Dirtsheets.
You just want me to open Dirtsheets. Okay. Just making sure where we're at. All right.
Yeah. All right, so you're
Okay.
on the.
Next time we have a guest on, we're going to have a mandatory PowerPoint.
Put
that
it
they
in
have to
private.
submit.
Put it in the private chat so I can just open it on this computer because I'm also on my work computer, which I don't usually use for like chicanery.
Gotcha. All right, give me 1 second. But anyway, why should people care about this? I can like talk and do that. So yeah, whenever we get a lot of questions that are just starting so and so faction, like what do I take? What do I buy to start this faction or whatnot? And you can just use this instead of it
Asking
basically
dumb questions
does
on Reddit.
yeah, exactly. And you have the map.
Did we also just lose,
Yep,
Frank?
100%.
Intact. Who would have thought?
Welcome back.
All right. All right. We're gonna share a screen. Give me 2 seconds.
It's stat check, not stat tech. Let's.
Oh my god. Why is I have to close something because I
Right.
have
I
like,
am going to
a
do the
billion
stream.
things open.
Leave it be. I can do the stream.
No, I got it. It's just annoying that I have to do something. 1 second. All right, look at this magic. I did it. Look. Haha.
No, it is tabs. I was hoping we'd get more bread articles.
There I actually have been putting more links at the top just to amuse people sometimes with my Google
That's good.
profile, but
Tell us what we're looking at, Frank.
All right, so yeah, this is the main dashboard. The view is not entirely correct because I am not good at Tableau, but basically you can scroll, you can see your faction, your detachment, and then your unit, and then the percentage is just how often that particular unit shows up in that detachment for that faction. So Skitarii Vanguard, they show up in every AdMech list that goes X and 1 or better, literally every single one. And if you hover over it, it'll tell you here's how many lists show up in that faction detachment combo. On the side, there's 3 filters. You can filter by percentages if you want to just see what's shown up in like 50% or better of the top lists. If you want to filter to show just one faction, you can do that, or given detachments, you can do that as well. Obviously, that's going to get more built out as more codexes get released and we have more factions with multiple detachments.
There are GSC lists that don't run Acolyte hybrids. That's shocking. I'm incredibly
Yeah,
surprised when
every
that happens.
GSC list is like 3+ acolytes, 3+ neophytes,
And one dude that ran neophytes.
a ton of characters, and then usually a Ridge Runner. No jackals, that's for damn sure.
Jackal's right down at the bottom, 1 appearance.
Yeah, they are not popular. If you hover over unit, there's a plus sign, and this is like the one bad thing about Tableau. You can do more drill downs. So if you click on it once, you'll see appearances. So this is how many times a given data sheet has shown up in a single list. So like Primus, people are taking 3 Primuses X percentage of the time. They're taking 1 Primus, Y, et cetera, et cetera. So this kind of starts to paint that picture of like, is something too good if people are like spamming 3 ofs or more in every single list? Like
If you go into
maybe...
Ironstorm list, you can probably see an example of what's showing up a lot as a 3 of.
Yeah, if you filter, Nathan, if you go to detachment, just do Ironstorm, yeah, you can. Yeah, so like.
Is there any way we can get that bit like expanded out, or is Tableau's you're just terrible?
It might just be Tableau's being a little terrible right now, but let's see if I do.
Let me-
Tableau seems to enjoy a good fight.
Let me try one thing, and then we'll see if it works.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I
It
just
worked.
am being an idiot. That's okay. Don't worry. Don't mind me. Just being dumb. I scrolled it over.
He's very good
Oh,
at
okay.
science. He's not very good at technology.
100% appearance of exactly one Tech Marine. Power gaming.
Oh.
Wait, because you can only take one. A tech ring comes in a size of one. Also, Nathan, I think if you refresh the screen, the bars should be not shitty now. So maybe.
Oh, there we
Hey!
go. Yay!
We got there. We got there. We got
We
there.
did it.
We're doing
yeah, the
great,
filters-
guys.
The filters are up at the top. So if you click to drop down, you can go back. You can go back to Iron Storm. Yeah. So then appearance. So the reason why Tech Marine's at 1. So after unit size, so that's self-explanatory. If you click on that again, and this is the annoying thing to get the drill downs. After unit size, there's another plus sign, and if you click on that, you can see the war gear options for a given unit. And then if you click on war gear, there's another plus sign. This is the one thing I hate.
We're getting
There
real
we
deep
go.
now.
And now, so now we've got the enhancements. So, what a shocker! Lethal hits in Iron Storm for Black Templar shows up 92% of the time on a tech ring.
What?
Yeah. Added to Beyond Messiah 78 flesh. So, so for characters, you can get enhancements. It's tied to your character. For everything else, you can get your specific war gear tied to your data sheets. So we can see what individual war loadouts are proving to be possibly problematic for armies like Tau. No surprise, it's going to be cyclics across the board. It's just a shame that we can't point different war gear pieces differently from other war gear pieces, but
We can point exactly the Shadow Spectre X arc differently to the rest of the squad. The one example of where the technology does exist is that
We've got that down.
And Black Templars and Pulsars are allowed to multi-meta for 5 points.
Yeah.
Are you saying that when we look at the battle host, for example, and if we scroll to like the Autarch Wayleaper, just like
Mono build.
being magical like
Yeah.
that? Although it looks like people have differences in these very small things.
Yeah, when you get to this level, the numbers get a little weird because it's like Autarch Wayleaper with any one of the enhancements or no enhancement, or they'll change one of the 3 different options that they get. So then you get these really tiny numbers. So that's why when you start, it's just unit.
Yeah, they combined for the unit. What does the Night Spinner tell us, Nathan?
1 second. What did you just ask, Ines?
What's the Night Spinner sitting at for usage rate? Because I'm like loving that Yinkarn at 71%, but Fuegan climbing up to 48.
2 Night Spinners, War Gear Agnostic, are at 37. 1 Night Spinner at 33 at 18, which seems low.
So that's combined total 88% of lists, including at least 1 Night Spinner.
That does seem low.
85% of army of lists will take a Night Spinner in some capacity.
Got it.
Nice.
Yeah. Autarch Wayleaper 82, Warp Spider 76, Incarn 70.
What's like combined rate? So do you track like Warlord statistics? I'd be curious for the Wayleaper, how much of it like lists that include the Wayleaper and lists that include Yunari or include Yvrain, because you can only have mutually exclusively one of them as Warlord to include Yunari. I wonder if that adds up to being close to, because Yvrain's set at 12.7, which combined would put them at like a 95% incidence rate between the two of them. But I'm assuming there might be some lists that include both.
Yeah, so I don't track Warlords specifically right now. I can because that's not terribly hard to add. It would just be either another field.
Tracking would be a pain in the backside, though.
Yeah, it would just because it's just so many. We have 200 plus Eldar lists.
Yeah, it's also just like one of those things that only really matters in a couple of specific contests. Like I can imagine, like where there's mutually exclusive Warlords, so I can't even think like of another one where there's anything that keys off of Warlord. Eldars, and I guess the Death Watchmaster has a warlord ability, but like, yeah, there's not a ton of them. So,
And then Elo Woozle asks a good question, which is, Frank, are you manually parsing all this data?
I am going through BCP and I'm manually pulling all of the links for all of the lists that are XM1 or better. I have a giant ass spreadsheet, and then I just go through and read all of them. It's actually not as painful as you sound, like, because as you build the spreadsheets out, a lot of the stuff just gets repeated because obviously what works, and then some fact like Chaos Knights takes 5 minutes to do because it's just copy the
Plus,
same line.
you can
It's
just
copy the
everything's
same
list
5
over, right?
lines and then just maybe change one number from 6 to 5 or 4.
Is that
And
the
then-
public link, the one that you put in the channel, Frank?
Yes. So the tab it's going to go to is actually the next tab over, which is
Christ.
what I think is interesting. So this is the same thing, but it's also broken down now into placements. So on top of all the other shit, now you can see what's making event winning results versus stuff that's getting into like a top cut or top 8, which is something I started a few weeks ago with WCW, and then I backtracked that. There weren't that many additional super major tournaments, but like we just had Leicester this weekend, so there are like extra lists in there that are X and 1 versus top cut, and then ones that are just X and 1. So this gives additional granularity to like what's doing almost too good. If it's the same stuff showing up in 100% of winning lists, and there's a ton of winning lists, then like, hey, it's probably too good.
Click on Berserker
there's a-
Warband. I reckon everything in there's 100%, right?
There's this really cool thing that we see with the Ying card being in 96.4% of event winning lists. That's wild. Just wild.
But look, she's terrible, and everybody should car because that's what the Americans.
They're strong, they're not dominant.
Strong but not dominant. It's true. But if we do click on Berserker Warband, just for
Yeah.
funsies.
Yeah, Master of Executions, Invocatus, Jackals, Berserkers, Angron, and are all in every single event winning list.
The army has 4 units. Leave us alone.
Shout out to the dude who won without
No, this
rhinos.
Rhino's only in 2/3 of winning lists, so you can theoretically not run any Rhinos and still win. But you got to run. And then you could do the same drill downs as you could on the previous sheet. Again, it's really annoying that it's like a very tiny plus button, but like if you go all the way out, we can see like how many Master of Execution. Oh, hey, Master of Executions with Warglaves, 100% of event winning lists. Because
well, that's just me. Oh, one other person. Sorry, other person.
Yeah. And then the X and 1, one of them is you. Or no, top cut is one of them is you. X and 1, one of them is you.
Yeah.
So, hey guys, take Angron. Take the Berserker Glaive on the MOE.
So, for anybody who's kind of looking at this and being like, this is all super cool, but also, you know, what's the point? What can you do with this information? Like, what should people be using this for?
So, so if you want to do list building, and let's go to like the just the main tab, just for ease of use. So let's say you're like starting out. I know someone posted like last week, like, oh, I just started Grey Knights. Like, what's good in Grey Knights? So you can filter to Grey Knights, and right off the bat, you'll see, oh, Librarians. They're in literally every list that's good. Terminators are in almost every list that's good. Strike squads, Paladin squads. So you know, okay, I'm going to need these in some amount, in some capacity in my lists. And then as you drill down, you'll see how many do I need? Are people kitting them a certain way? No, like the Master of Executions in World Eaters, we can see that it's like the Berserker Glaive is the way to go. Like the majority, if not everyone, that's how they're kitting their Master of Executions. That's what like makes him work. So you can see what makes a given unit work when there's a majority of people taking it and doing a certain enhancement or a certain war gear combination. So when you're trying to build your lists, you can use this to show, hey, here's what's been proven good and will get me to at least an X and 1 or better finish. And then if you really want to like try and craft a list that's going to win an event, you can use the next tab and actually to get that level of granularity. Like if you want to build a Grey Knights event winning list, I don't know if such a thing is possible, if I'm going to be honest with you, because they are.
Hey,
There's like
clearly it
one,
is.
I think,
Fine.
or something like that. Maybe two.
Yeah.
There's probably two. Yeah, there's two. Okay. Probably want to do something like this then. Do top cut. Yeah, for some factions, you're going to have to like know about meta representation just a little bit and like how many events these factions have won. And then some of them you're going to have to use X and 1, and some of them you can use event winner or top cut. Like if you're looking at Grey Knights who maybe only have 2 people who have won GTs, you might want to dig a little deeper and look at people who've made top cut. And then if that number doesn't change a lot, then look at X and 1 and kind of get a feeling for what people are taking in winning lists. Because sometimes GT winning lists are not the same as like the most powerful list necessarily, but frequently they are.
Is there a way from the information
With
that's here to
small
like
data sizes.
pull out what a specific list was after looking? Like you look at it and you're like, oh cool, there was a list that won with blah blah. Can I see what the other units in that list were, or is that not a function that's available?
Not yet, but that is something I can add if that's something that people want to see. I can definitely make an additional dashboard that will let you. Well, probably you can filter on events. So if you see something that wanted like an event, you can go to like a lookup page and it'll either give you a link or it'll just show you the
Because
event
like
winner.
the immediate thing that I'm thinking that's kind of like missing from this, which like I understand that, but is like synergy, right? Like what units are being run with other units. Because it's very cool looking at units in isolation, but it doesn't give you 100% of the picture, right? So it's definitely something that I think could be interesting to see, and if that's a functionality that you could put in, that would be great. There was a question in chat, which is how often is this updated? And I know you said you do this manually, so I'm assuming it's on a reasonably frequent basis, so it doesn't overwhelm. But
yeah, so I do it over the course of a week. Some weekends take longer to parse just because there's more stuff. Other times it's shorter, but generally it's about the course of a like Sunday to Wednesday or Thursday at the latest. And of course, barring for real life shit. But I'm at a point now where it's just parsing the current lists for a given weekend and then just refreshing the data. So it goes by fairly quickly.
Is there a filter for like date/meta on this? Like, is there a filter for pre-balanced data slate, post-balanced data slate, etc.? Like, is that something that's available?
Not yet. So when I started it, it was when we switched over, when we just got the slate.
Yeah. So it's all currently the current.
Yeah, because I was talking to Tim, and he was like, now that like the meta isn't a dumpster fire anymore, we'll just start fresh from post slate. And so as of yet, no, because
no
we're only
necessary.
doing
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when we get to that point, that is something I will figure out how to implement so we can have post slate. There's 2 more tabs if we want to quickly go through them. The one after this one just shows you enhancement usage across a given, but across every given detachment. So there's like not surprises here. Like Favorite of Corn and the Berserker Glaive are both in 80+% of World Eater lists because they're really good. Some people are taking the Helm of Brazen Ire. I don't know why. People be taking Demon Princes in that list.
I can't believe the only guard relic I respect is the least used, which is the one that's spec'd. It's in 2.23% of the guard lists that do well. Heartbreaking.
Hey, we got one hero running a Crusher Stampede winning list, and then detachment popularity is a tracker for like how many of a given detachment we see on a week to week, which it can be kind of interesting. If you filter to like show only Marines, you can see like when the codex dropped, there's like a giant drop in Gladius, and then there's Ironstorm, and then it just goes up, which is pretty funny. Yeah, it's like a real time. Oh yeah. Oh, we can just do this instead. Yeah, it just plummets and then. Yeah, so there's just like fun things you can do, play around with that. But yeah, the synergy thing is something that I know people would want. It's something I just am.
Yeah,
I'm
it's definitely one
teaching
of the things
myself
that's like
in real
the
time. It's
scope
like,
of that is vastly beyond like that suddenly starts getting into like being able to like parse every individual list more than anything else, right? Which this is quick hits, what's good. It's the down and dirty information on your army, right? If you're trying to figure out you switch to an army, you want to know what units are important, these are what units are important. It's incredible for that. Just speaking from like having seen what Tim was doing with this, the original kind of genesis of this was Tim's version of this, which he was doing for Chaos Demons, and he basically just took the information that it gave him and just went, what's in every list, shoved it all on a list, and it like was the best demons list at the time. There are factions that is incredible for, and factions that are like less synergy based that you can do some incredible stuff with this one. Like Tyranids are a great example of that, right? You probably like most of those Tyranids lists are just ball of stuff doing well. There's not a ton of synergy to them. So if you just pick the things that are in almost every list, you're going to end up with a Tyranids list that's pretty close to optimal, and then you can tweak it for your personal preference in the detachment you're running. While getting clout because Frank's done the work for.
yeah, Tim I know did the same thing for what was his GT winning Death Guard list. He just went through and looked at what's good and surprisingly didn't take Mortarion despite Mortarion showing up in over half of the lists. So yeah, there's definitely ways I can point people to individual lists from the dashboard because I do have all of the links, and each list has a specific ID that I like create and assign it for the purposes of this. So getting that shouldn't be too much of an additional effort. It's just figuring out how to do it. But yeah, that is what we got in a nutshell. So go have fun. Figure out what's so hot right now.
There's one last quick question there. Is how is event placing determined? Wherever the list that goes 5-0 but gets secondly placed, what time frame does this cover?
So 5-0, but second place would be. It would technically, well, it will kind of depend. If it's an event that has like a top cut or top bracket type of placing, like an LGT or Cali Cup, it would go in there because it would make top cut, but it wouldn't be the event winner. Otherwise, it would just be an X and 1 list. I can change that to be X and 1 or better. The other tricky thing is when events use WTC scoring. I have to go and see, like, if someone has 3 draws, I'll go and I'll see, all right, would these draws have been wins or losses in singles, and kind of.
Oh, you 100% can't do that. You just got to think of as draws, man. They're draws.
Okay, so I will start doing that.
The problem with it is that a lot of those kind of games end up in a situation where it's like you can't win, like you're within 5 of each other, and you just stop playing, and you're just like, it doesn't matter what the score is, it's 10-10. Some of them won't even you don't track the BCB won't even take the score, and it's not 10-10. There's no way to know. So you definitely should just treat them as they are from the tournament.
Gotcha.
Just treat them as a draw. But yeah, I mean, you could probably have it like, how much of an additional would it be to have it be their event winner XO X1 filters that would track all of them, or XO X1 and combined for the 2 of them?
Probably not that hard. It would just be a matter of either adding another type of entry for like your event placement, or just doing.
It's one of those things
that
that like isn't super important in the sense that the difference between there being like 2 5 in a listed event, one of them going to event winners, one of them going to X and 1. If you care about the broader spectrum of it, use the X and 1 tab. It's got all the information that you're looking for anyway. Going X and 1 is just as hard as winning a GT in terms of like list design perspective, right? Any list that can go X and 1 can win a GT. That's just kind of how luck of the draw works. So
yeah, you'll still need the same amount of pairing luck.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, at the list level, like a player, maybe necessarily not. But if a list can go X and 1, if a list can win 4 games at a tournament, it can win 5 because a lot of that is luck of the draw.
Nice.
Cool. Thank you very much, Ryan. That was super interesting. And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of questions coming out of the Discord about it that we've already answered, but we will get a chance to spiel a bit more about it. We'll also, do you want to plug the Patreon and all the information that people can get from that now?
Oh, yeah. So I do have a Patreon page. Yeah, I need to update it because the data on there is out of date just in what links it's pointing to, and then just like what that started as versus what it became has wildly changed. So I just need to update all of that. But yeah, there is a Patreon where you can go and like tip me money for doing this if you feel so generously inclined. I had a plan where I would like put out additional content, but that might be something that maybe comes back, where I would do like, here's what shot up. Like World Eaters had a huge spike this past weekend in usage. Same with Vanguard lists, like, and half of those Vanguard lists were just John's list. So as like a tracker of here's what's like hot right now. If you like Zoolander references, go to the Patreon, because a lot of the terminology is just Zoolander quotes. So
Nice. Love those.
yeah, well, it's going to be like, here's what's so hot right now. Like, here's what's so hot right now. Here's faction of the week. Space Marines Vanguard Detachment. There you go, guys.
Nice.
We did it.
Got it in there.
We made it work.
I love it. I love it.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank. It's patreon.com/40k Dirtsheets for anybody who's listening on the various podcast apps available. I'm going to very quickly run our plugs, and then we're going to go to show questions. So, hey everybody, thank you for being with us so far on the show. If you're enjoying what you're listening to, there's a couple ways you can support us. First was checking us out on YouTube at youtube.com/statcheck. Drop us a like, a comment, a subscription, anything like that. It's a super big help for us in terms of discoverability, getting our name out there and getting to do more of the cool stuff that you guys enjoy. You can also check out patreon.com/statcheck for access to our Discord community, where we have things like the Vibe Check League, massive discussions about all kinds of things, banter, shit talk. You want to catch all the 40k drama, we basically have a drama channel at this point. It's all wonderful, and you will hear perspectives on things that you never would have thought you'd heard from people who have no idea what they're talking about all the time. And that, for me, is the funniest thing in Warhammer. You can also check out a bunch of other stuff. We have Enter the Matrix and XM1, which are two other shows on the network. I believe this week was an XM1 week, but they can't record, something like that. So you should be expecting an Enter the Matrix episode in a week or so's time, as well as an XM1 episode when Tim and Cliff get around to it. I've been offered to be on episode 50, so I think they're delaying to try and make episode 50 as far into the future as possible, to give me the best chance of being a Warhammer dad by the time it happens. I'm expecting it sometime around the heat death of the universe. Please check out our sponsors, red-dragon.ca and Etsy, Saltar Games on Etsy, for access for a bunch of cool stuff. Red Dragon covers things like the new stat check mats, which you can see pictures of in our Discord, I think on their website now. You could also get a bunch of cool stuff delivered for 40k and other things. If you're a patron, you have access to a discount code, which I want to say is 20% off right now, but I actually don't know off the top of my head. And you can get access to that by joining our Patreon.
It is 20%.
20%. That's awesome. Thanks, Nathan. And then Saltar Games make a bunch of awesome tokens, measuring gauges, deep strikes markers, all that sort of stuff with stat check branding, as well as a bunch of other stuff. I dropped a bunch of stuff off in California and also Atlanta, so hopefully that's propagating its way around the US now. Lastly, if you're interested in getting coaching from either myself or Typhus, please do check out stat-check.com/coaching, or drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com for if you want to have a chat with us about us potentially helping you out with anything you're looking for 40k related. Specifically, I think the website might say anything, but please keep it 40k related. It would really help with my mental health. Yeah. Otherwise, thanks very much, everybody, for listening. If all you can do, although you can do support is just listen to the show every week, that is still more than enough. We greatly appreciate everybody being with us, interacting in chat, and just paying attention to us as much as possible, because we are all attention whores. And frankly, without you all, we wouldn't have anything to do on a Tuesday night, and I'd be so bored. So, yeah, thanks. We're now going to launch into questions. If you are a member of the Patreon, please do drop their questions into the show questions channel. If not, drop us into the chat. If you want to make sure it gets read and you're not in the Discord, please do drop it in as a super chat, and we will definitely get to it. Otherwise, we'll get to it if we have time. Thank you, everybody, for being with us, and we're going to launch into that.
All right, so we do have questions. There actually are a lot of questions for Frank. So congratulations, Frank.
Oh, I know. They're mostly nonsense.
Yeah, Frank. Everybody wants to know about your food.
Everybody wants to know about my mouth, which is slightly unsettling.
Welcome to our Discord. Jack Chapman asks, other than changes to CSM Eldar, what balance changes do you want to see in the slate?
Remember those Tyranid points that we all thought were like going to be kind of cool when the Codex came out? Just go back to those. Just revert to those, and Tyranids will probably be fine.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. Why did everything get nerfed?
I love looking at the Norn sheet that's like almost 300 points. And then looking at comparable things like, I don't know, man.
Mortarion is 315, and look at all the shit that guy can do.
I'm playing Triple Assimilator this weekend. They are 310 points.
Well, they have a strength 12 or something.
They don't even have an
AP3.
invol, dude.
It's that 2-up save. It's the 2-up save. It just
All
makes
about
them
that
2
2-up.
OP.
2 with armor contempt access. Come on, let's be reasonable here.
Access.
I think that covers it. I too would
I'd also like to
see
see
Tyranids
Votan to get
points.
points hit. I hate playing against a Horde army that has a 3-up save with armor contempt.
Just undo the points cuts that they got, and you might be on the right track. And then there's definitely stuff in Ironstorm that needs to be heavily considered.
Whirlwinds should just be in Legends. Why does that data sheet exist?
Yeah, them and Night Spinners.
I mean,
The
Blast.
Whirlwind model is so old, so bad.
They
Why
just
Could
is
it be an X and 1 dev?
it could be actually. I think it's older than Innis.
That entirely probable, yeah. But the Hunter and Stalker, which came out in like 2012, disappeared. Like, we'll take the Hunter and Stalker back. They sucked. We could have them in Ironstorm and get rid of Whirlwinds.
I think even with the new models, that Eldar still has the oldest range on average of any 40k range, technically,
good.
because they still have Aspect Warriors and Phoenix Lords who are like 20-ish years old or something like that.
Nids is all plastic now, so it's got
That's a
that
good
Kardashian
thing.
range.
Failcast needs to go away. All right. Dan F asks, Frank, what's your favorite way to eat eggs?
Did research. Egg by itself, scrambled. If I'm having like something where an egg is like the main part of a dish, I love a good omelet. Just like bacon, cheese. I don't fuck around with too many toppings. My favorite dish with like egg heavy accessory is carbonara, because I just made it last weekend and it was dope. We got guanciale from a farmer's market, and I could feel the arteries clogging up in real time.
You
And
didn't
that
need them
sounds good.
anyways.
It's got that triplicate answer. That's so impressive.
I'm been around the block.
Don't answer every question that we will run out of time.
How many bases can you fit in your mouth?
I mean, obviously depends on if they're empty bases and what size.
I'll just well
they're empty
prepared for
bases.
this one.
32
Yeah.
millimeter bases. Let's just say 30.
32 on
How many Space Marine bases can you fit in your mouth?
I'd say anywhere 10 to 20, probably.
It's a big
just-
range.
Ballparking. It's
Okay,
really
I
what
like
I'm
it.
here.
Ball parking.
And then Sam Lemon asks, what up, Frank? I understand you have a competitive powerlifting background. What elements of that prior life do you feel translate over to 40K?
Yeah, so this is something I have thought about. And like for better or for worse, the comparisons of yourself and your performance at an event is something that in powerlifting happens a lot, and it's fairly healthy because it's all about, you're not really competing to win a powerlifting meet, you're just trying to lift more weight than you did last time. So how you did at one meet compared to the next one is your basis for like what is a good event, or like, oh, I'm just trying to have like 7 lifts out of my 9 attempts, whereas like 40K being a much more social game, you know, comparing like your performance being like, oh, I only went 3 and 3, I did so poorly, when like I went 3 and 3 at an event, and like, but like, one of my losses was to TJ on Gene Stealer Colts. It was still a great game, like absolute blast, learned a lot. But like if I was strictly going on event performance, like my last event before that was Nova, and I went like 5 and 3, so I had an objectively worse performance if I'm comparing myself. But there's a lot more nuance to like comparing yourself in a 40K tournament. So shifting that mindset has been something that I still struggle with at times with 40K. I ask a lot of questions about it on the X and One podcast, and I think Scary said you can just try and use your like overall record going from event to event, and just like you can try and do better. Oh, there's my baby for anybody who's interested. Sorry, give me 1 second. I gotta go say goodnight to my baby.
Okay.
See, I was going to say the back pain, but leaning over those short tables, man, it's tough work.
Yeah, I don't play forward, so I'm not like super hunched over all the time. So I kind of get out of it. But yeah, that would be the thing that I said, like transfers over for better or for worse. Also, like it's health. Health is good. You do better at things when you are healthy. So just make sure you're exercising, everyone. I've definitely not worn a tank top to an event the day before doing just arms and shoulders to try and psych out opponents. I've never done it. Absolutely not. We just, yeah, I'm gonna make all my rolls.
I would be very psyched out. I'm not gonna lie.
Sam's second question is, what are some of the data flaws to 40K dirt sheets or things we may or may not see inherently? I think just focus on the first part. Are there any flaws in it that you are looking to fix?
I mean, I think it is pointing out being able to link synergy. Like, here's the rest of the list is something that is a flaw, but that's something that can add over time, and I think would be helpful. Aside from that, I don't think so. I think starting from the start of 10th going to now, I think I ironed out a lot of like what I would have liked to see, and I think we're at a pretty good spot now, but I could be wrong. So
There's also a degree of there are a billion places to see 40K lists that have done well. Dirtsheets doesn't have to be one of them. Dirtsheets can be its own thing. It's just making everything all in one. But like you can check out 40kstats.goonhammer.com. You can check out the Meta Monday. You can check out the guy that does them on Wednesdays that collects all the event lists. You can look at them on BCP. Like it doesn't have to be everything in one source. It just would be cool to have it. So don't worry too much about it. Like if you're looking at Dirtsheets and trying to be like, oh, I can't check out lists. You can find the list. They're not hard. Lists are not hard to find. But getting aggregated data on everything is way cooler. So,
yeah.
Then the next question is, again, Frank. This is from Will. For Frank, how many Nurglings can you fit in your current vehicle?
How big is a Nurgle?
I think they're like top, like 3-year-old sized,
football size,
maybe like toddler.
Football.
Like you could punt one.
Is that a toddler or a football?
Yes.
I mean, yes.
Yes,
I have to
both,
WWE
yes,
at one point.
The immediate yes was a little too fast, but
Yeah, some guy punted a baby on the storyline, and then they played it for comedy. How many Nurglings? I don't know, 50? 100? I have no idea. I don't know. Let's say
like
75, maybe 100 if we squeeze them into the trunk.
there you go.
There we go. All right. This is for everybody. What is the ideal judge to player ratio at a tournament?
1-to-1.
All right, fucking calm down. I think the Breath Weapon Gaming guys use 1 for 30, I think is the rate that they use, or something to that effect. Maybe it's 1 for 20. But that works really well. Whatever they do works good. Use that.
Yep. For our RTTs, we have 2 for an RTT of 20 people, just because it's easier for everybody involved. But
yeah, I mean, once you're past 10, it should be multiple, and I don't know that scales.
Yeah, it doesn't scale the same. It's more there's a curve to it. It's not directly linear.
Right.
Every table should have a judge managing each side of the chess clock.
That sounds like a lot of work, bud.
But then it wouldn't be too complicated to put chess clocks into tournaments.
There you go.
Because you just have a judge there with a timer.
100%.
Okay,
Yep, exactly.
Like a lap timer. Excellent. I love it. All right. Dan F asks, Frank, what is your favorite faction Discord channel, and which faction channel do you identify yourself as?
Oh God.
You can plead the fifth. It's okay.
It is okay to plead the fifth. Yes.
I mean, my favorites aside from the ones for the factions I play it's the Chaos Knights channel, like 100%. If you're not a member of the Patreon, go join and just join the Chaos Knights channel. It is the single best channel.
It's called the Hog Pen.
Yeah, it's called the Hog Pen, and we're all about cranking hogs. Like how you crank your hogs, how many hogs you
I should
crank.
change the
All right.
World Eaters one to be 8 demons and 8 demons and a rhino.
Please don't do that. Frank, on that topic though, how many exalted 8-bound can you fit in your current vehicle?
How many Nurglings equal 1 exalted 8-bound in capacity, and then take the number of Nurglings you can fit in a vehicle and convert that into how many exalted 8-bound you could fit in a vehicle, and then give or take, considering X amount of Nurglings is like multiple things, whereas like you have like one exalted 8-bound. So
I actually prefer that answer than an actual number because it makes somebody go try to figure out a formula for
It's
nurgling to
53.
exalted 8-bound
It's
conversion.
fine.
Can never tell if Innes actually did the math or if he just made that up.
Frank,
he says it with the
Franklin-
confidence of someone who did the math, but
Frank asks, Frank, should we gather more Franks and then invade France?
absolutely. French people are
Be careful.
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 definitely a people.
There you
No,
go.
I think it's from what I've heard, sometimes people who are like born and raised in Paris have that like the stereotypical French attitude, but there are other French people who are nothing but lovely. So
There you go. Preston says, Frank, did you ever try that donut joint?
not yet. There's a really good donut joint near where I live. And
How would you know you
Preston
never
said I
tried
should
it?
go there. Well, I was told that it's very good and that I should go try it. And I have
then
not.
everybody tell us your favorite donut. I'll go first. I personally like an old-fashioned donut, the kind that like pop a little bit in the fryer. Those ones are great.
Most bakeries in Scotland will do a fudge donut, which is like fudge icing and custard filled, and it's really solid.
Yeah,
Really,
Boston
really
cream
good.
out this way is what that's called. Jelly donut's probably my favorite.
Boston cream, but instead of like cream, it's more chocolate icing.
Reasonable.
That
Or a
does sound pretty, yeah.
Or
I
a
think so.
chocolate glazed donut.
I think the most universally overrated thing on this planet is chocolate.
Ooh. It's a hot take discussion for the show.
Yeah, Anthony,
discussion
it's a
channel.
Boston cream donut, but it's fudge on top instead of chocolate.
Sure.
Just like
Sam has more questions, and it says, should judging and discipline actions, i.e. yellow and red cards, be more active? And if so, how can you determine mistake versus deliberate cheating?
They shouldn't be differentiated, and yellows should be consistently applied often with smaller penalties.
It's a good one.
getting a yellow is like a hey, don't do that again, not a hey, you've done something wrong, and people should not be demonized for getting yellow cards. That's also a like, if we want judging to be taken seriously, people need to be able to make mistakes and not get like hard slammed for it, and just be like, hey, do better next time, and then get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
But that's still a ways out in 40K, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
think there's
definitely possible, but it's just not happening.
Exactly. So, maybe don't give people shit for getting yellow cards. Just like people make mistakes. It's okay to people to make mistakes. Let them make them and then punish like repeat offenders.
Yeah, Nos put his 8-pound in a rhino. We should bully him for that, but he shouldn't have lost the event for it, even though he did.
Yeah, I mean, like he should have lost the event to sisters, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Some of these questions I don't want to ask, by the way.
That's fine. You
But
have to.
You
though.
just skip them.
Derek asks, Frank, how much wolf could you wolf if wolves could wolf?
None. He plays World Eaters and Black Templars now. He gave up on the wolf life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the correct answer would be 24 because that's 18 Thunderwolf cavalry and 6 Thunderwolf characters in a Stormlands detachment, but I don't do that anymore.
But that's
Now I play
no.
Storm
You get
Runner.
an
Anthony
extra
just
one.
went off camera.
You get an
to
extra one because you get
shame.
Logan Grimnar on Storm Rider with his 2 wolves.
I was going to say
Oh,
3 wolves
that's true.
howling at one moon.
So you get
but-
25.
Next.
All right. Frank, as a fellow lifting heavy things enjoyer, what is your? I'm gonna make this like a little bit slimmer. What's your favorite lift?
It's the deadlift. Hands
Okay.
down.
And then
It does have the best name, I think.
Yeah,
do
it's the
you
most
use
fun.
periodization for your hobby?
No,
Which-
but that so periodization is basically like a way of strength training where you're constantly changing variables within a given workout, like based on how tired you feel, how hard a given lift at a given weight for a given rep set range is. It's a lot of math for going to the gym, but
Okay.
there's definitely possibly maybe a way you could do it for like practice games. You're saying we're only going to play up until like round 2 and then do a bunch of like only round 2 games versus
I like the
full
idea
game.
of having to do math based on how tired you are, which just sounds awful.
Yeah.
John asks, when will GW make War Gear cost points again, and how much of a headache will that make your job, Frank? Does it really change anything about how Dirtsheets is done?
This makes some more granular, but also some factions already a pain in the ass anyway, like guard
How?
infantry. Tau, fortunately, not right now because I just look, and then if you're not running 18 cyclics, then I have to like actually care about what your loadout is. But most people just run 18.
Do you ever have to look
cyclics.
at what like the extra drone is on the commander's? Oh, it sounds awful. I hate that.
Yeah, it is rough. Yeah, I guess it would make some factions awful, and some would just be like it wouldn't matter at all.
How glad are you that tactical marines suck right now?
I did enter tactical marines this week, and I was just like, oh god.
You know, it's like 18 weapon options for 5 dudes, or for 10 dudes. It's great.
Adam Thylacine asks another question, which is, with the increasingly common close deep strike and upsy downsy mechanics, when does Inquisitor plus Mystic for 115 points become worth considering for Imperium armies without access to 12-inch denial bubbles?
It's not too bad. It's just a little too expensive, but the rule is obviously very powerful. In armies where you're going to take any component of that already, it's fine, but
It's a little limited in the sense that it's only from the individual model as opposed to the
Yeah.
unit, like a lot of them. So it's, you know, compared to like a infiltrator squad and space marines, which are already kind of like not that popular. Like they're definitely, you know, they show up, but they're not in every list like they used to be.
wait till
With-
GSC gets a codex, then it'll be a
Sure,
thing again.
but
or
marine
demon.
players have gotten greedy, is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Where they're 100 points and you get a, you know, not 5 times larger bubble, but somewhere in the region of like 3 or 4 times larger bubble for cheaper than that. Any unit that is, you know, does other things on top of just being a deep strike bubble, I think it's difficult to justify it unless you really strongly need it. Like GSC are significantly part of the meta. So I would say you're probably talking ballpark like it's probably like 40 or 50 points too expensive. Just in terms of like the fact that you need the Inquisitor to get the deep strike bubble is probably the deal breaker there. Like making your assassinate heavier for access to a deep strike bubble for one specific matchup or for one specific model, just it's a very tough sell for a lot of armies. And there are a lot of armies that have access to it already that don't run it. That are at significantly cheaper values.
All right. And then Dan Ava asks, Frank, they say the most important part of becoming a good list builder is killing your darlings. Given that, which of your cohorts is your darling that you are going to kill? Dang.
Be careful.
None of them.
some of us are easier to kill than others.
It's true.
I mean,
Some of us can't run very fast.
Also true.
do I have to commit murder? I'd like prefer not.
No,
to.
it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say none.
There you go. I like that answer.
That's a good answer, Dan. That's why Dan can't list build stat check episodes, and he has to let us do it for him.
And
That's
then
right.
this is for everybody. Is Ed B is asking if some of the Black Templar builds. Well, he says some of the Black Templar builds are outperforming CSM and Eldar. Is that real or a data mirage? And why are they going under the radar?
It's one of those things where going 3 and 2 across a lot of people looks a lot better than winning events, and I think that's a lot of what's happening. Black Templars are very powerful and they're consistent and they're good at what they do, but they're not CSM or Eldar. I would be gobsmacked if I lost to most things as CSM and Eldar, and I feel like that box is a lot wider as Templars.
Yeah, I definitely felt it playing that Tempos list. It was like playing the CSM list, but like a little bit sad.
Just
in
a
a lot of
little
times.
stuff.
It's like, oh man, I really wish there was like a Forge Fiend in this list.
Or like
I wish
a
I could kill
second turn of
unit.
advance in charge.
Yeah, or you're just like, I really need to use my aggressions this turn, which means I can't use my Sword Brethren because they
Right.
move 6, and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, don't like that at all.
Yeah.
But
And
just
then-
run your Templars and Stormlands, and then everybody gets advanced in charge all the time.
Frank, we can mute you, just in case you.
Yeah, I know.
Frank then has a question, actually, which is how do you go
Ah.
about tweaking a proven successful list like Jack Templars or Anthony's 1975 to accommodate for IRL model availability restrictions while keeping the spirit, in quotation marks, of the
Well,
list intact?
You do one of two things. You buy the models to run the thing you want, or you run the models that you have. You have no options here. It's just
Or you
we're-
borrow models. Remember, that's an option. Now,
Yeah.
Anthony's actual answer is I don't change lists in between balanced data slates. I
Yeah,
just play
why
the
would
same
you
thing
do
for, like,
that?
Because I haven't killed any of the other hosts, and therefore I'm not a good list builder.
That's true. You can kill Anthony. It's okay. We approve. So for
You
I
anybody,
don't think I
odds
can
of
take
it.
Anthony in a fight.
You have good
As-
odds in Atlanta.
right. In general, if you're trying to approach building a list that is different to the established for any reason, whether that's for model availability concerns or because you're playing a different tournament format, different terrain, whatever. I've spent a lot of time doing this, adapting lists from like ITC format over to WC format for to train to team events and all that kind of thing. You need to try and approach it from the perspective of what is the thing that you were trying to take out of the list, what was it in the list for, and how can you either sideline needing that or replicate it with something else. That's what you have to do. If it's in the list to hold points, you need to put something else in the list to hold points, or find a way to not need to hold points. That's the only way you can do it. You just have to be, this doesn't work for this reason. It's because I can't use the models, or because I can't move a second lander on WC terrain if you're trying to play double lander, whatever the reason is.
Shit, most of the time you can't move the first one.
Exactly. Why is that thing in the list? What else can do that job? Is it going to be as good? Maybe it'll be better. Nobody knows. Like, you won't know until you try. So the answer is, if you can't run the thing, figure out why it's in the list and change it to either sidestep the requirement or to put something else in that does the same job almost as well or better, depending on the context. That's all you can do. Don't try to make a list that's just, don't just try to take a thing out and just shove something else into the gap because you have, you want to use your lion, Frank. Don't do it.
And the next question is, what's the most recent book you've all read? Pre-Murtag for Innocent Anthony.
Oh, I was going to say that one.
Well, we both read Murtaugh, which is pretty good.
That's what he said.
It's like the fifth Inheritance book, the Aragon series. It was very much McDonald's books, fantasy books. For me, I read.
Books out now? Shit.
Yeah, I know. The fourth one came out like 2013, and then it came out like not last month. There was like a short story compilation that was pretty good, actually. The Fourth Witch and the Worm, which I read a couple of years ago. He also did a book called To Sleep at the Sea of Stars, which is like a really weird fantasy or really weird, like fantasy sci-fi novel. I really enjoyed it, but it was super strange.
I tried to read it like 3 times, and just every time I've like fumbled the bag like a little bit.
It has a weird amount of body horror for like what feels like teen sci-fi.
Good.
So,
the last book I read was Karn's book. Boop.
Nice. For me, I read Treks in the Emerald Sea on the way to Cali Cup, and then in the airport on the way back, I bought Mark Lawrence's new book, which is The Book That Wouldn't Burn, which is a really weird, trippy, like dual perspectives of two characters that like don't really interact, and you just kind of like follow the path through the story, which was kind of interesting. Mark Lawrence is the guy that did like the Prince of Fools or whatever it was called, like the really gratuitous novels, fantasy novels. It was quite good, and I enjoyed it. It was like good to read on an airplane.
I read a lot of nonfiction books, actually. So I read, I just finished The Woman with a Worm in Her Head, which is like a medical and infectious disease book. And then I also just read Grape, Olive, and Pig, which is a book about Spanish food history, essentially.
Nice.
I just read Goodnight Moon.
Nice.
Oh yeah, dude.
Gets me every time, man. The old lady.
Gotta go get Goodnight Lab, the lab equivalent. I actually gifted that to my brother and my
Nathan, I know why you haven't sold out yet. You're too addicted to the job.
We do have there's a book we have. It's ABCs of Space, and it's just like Q is for Quasar, and then it's just like what a Quasar is, and there's like a whole series where it's like ABCs of like chaos theory.
I got quantum theory for my brother's kids.
Nice.
And
that
then,
series, I read through it too because I was like, I got to check this out to see if it's like actually something interesting.
Yeah,
and it was
P is for pterodactyl
right,
for your kids.
Why? Why would you do that to them? That's terrible. You're the worst.
It's a real book.
The
It
story
is.
of
It's like
rock.
the worst.
Get them the history of rock, which goes through the history of rock and roll for kids.
That's nice.
Love it.
It's
Or there's
probably-
always the Sam Jackson "Go the fuck to sleep" book for when they're.
I mean, of course.
Words.
Yeah.
How about your most recent non-kids book, though? I suppose.
Oh God, the Space Marine Codex. I guess
I was
I
just
don't
gonna
read a lot
say, which codex is it?
I don't read a lot of
It's okay.
non-fiction or fiction books. I should probably fix that.
Dang.
I do want to read Infinite and the Divine because every time someone talks about the book, they're like, "This is the best lore book."
I feel like the
read.
best version of that book is the like summary I read of it, where it just kind of went through all the highlights, and I didn't have to read like a Warhammer book, and that seemed good.
I think
like
my
this is all the
favorite
funny stuff that
was-
happened. I'm like, cool, that's all the funny stuff that happened. That sure did seem funny.
Dude,
I
the
don't have to
Warhammer
read
books are
Warhammer.
good.
I think my favorite was Tori's like summary of that for Mob Rules before it went away.
Oh yes.
That the summary by people of those books is way better, and Tori's was amazing.
Yeah, anything Tori does is great.
It's true.
Yeah, I stand by like no Warhammer book is better than a 7 out of 10. There's never been one. There never will be one. They are all the McDonald's of books. But
Whoa, whoa,
That's
whoa,
fine.
whoa, whoa!
Odds
Echoes
There's
is
probably
my
some
Warlock.
favorite
five
book.
guys in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of twos in like Warhammer 40k.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh,
Novelry.
1 to 7.
Dude,
There's
you
definitely a
can't-
range. There's
you
nothing
can't-
better than 7.
You can't just average them like that. That's
Yeah,
not
you can't.
fair.
There's a lot of twos
Just
weighing
like
that average
The
down.
best of them is a 7.
Oh, that's not
Oh,
fair. I don't think
I don't-
that's true at all.
I don't know. I've not
Ben-
read a heresy book since the Primarchs.
Oh,
but-
that's the problem.
no. I read all the ones up to that, but they were all just like they were chalky.
All right, Ben asks, what is your favorite dish you have personally cooked? I made birria quesadillas where I made the birria, and that was by far the best thing that I have made personally.
Strong. And
Uh,
I have strong recency bias. The soup I had at lunch was great.
nice.
I went and bought a loaf of bread and I used tin soup and I spread the butter on it myself. Smashing.
there's a really good macaroni and cheese recipe that I have in a cookbook, and I did that, and then I slow cooked pork butt for like 10 hours with a homemade spice rub.
Strong.
And yeah, that would be it. Yeah, Anthony, if Team USA needs a chef,
Yeah. Team
Willing
USA is currently like unified. We've all made the same soup for the last like week.
mm,
We have a health and fitness coach now on Team USA, which is cool. But we like one of the boys, Stephen Corrales, our head coach, posted a link to like a soup that you can make in an Instant Pot. And it fucking slams. So it's like accidentally become the Team USA mascot because we're all making it now. So
I think you guys should be like the French who came up and served like a platter of food to all the captains they played against. Like,
Yeah.
it was great. I got wine. I got like,
dude, the minute we're
Sure,
interested in
sure.
placing in the double digits, we will emulate the French.
Wow. Also, I just think it's unfair to 40k books. Like a book can be greater than a 7 for you personally without needing to be like compared against the giganticness of
Dude,
literature.
The
I
minute
think
you
it's-
find yourself like unironically agreeing with McWhirp, we can move on.
Yeah.
that's fine. I don't think McWhirp's fine. You guys are just assholes.
McWhirp is fine.
Yeah, McWhirp's
But
great.
also-
but like you can't agree with him. That's not how this works.
Yeah, but I
But
have
I
to
also
disagree
think
with
it's
you. How does
fine
that
to
work?
have
I don't know what to tell you.
it's fine, guys. You can rate your books however you want. You don't have to
Wait.
listen to other people try to taste make for you.
Hold on. Someone with admin powers highlight the last comment in chat because that will make JSJ irate. Please read that.
Which team surprised you most this year at Worlds, by the way? Didn't Sweden tear it up this year?
Yeah, it was awesome to see Sweden go from like a complete bottom tier team to
Yeah. Real zero to hero moment, dude. I really thought Norway was going to pull it out ahead of them, and I was worried when they got no votes at all in the fantasy draft that Sweden was just going to be like a, real mess again. And it was good to see an underdog come up like Sweden. Anyway,
Yeah.
carrying on.
I'm
Sorry.
pretty sure I gave them shit on like the Contact Lost episode for them. I was like, how do you guys feel about like having historically been one of the best teams and like not recently having done that well?
Dude,
Like-
their eyes glowed when you said that, apparently, and they came into the event ready to fuck.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm glad they did. And also beef case.
Beef case. That's the actual team mascot. I want it to be the soup, but in my heart, I know it's the beef case.
The surprise at the WC this year, by the way, was Austria, who did fantastically well. done to
Holy
Austria.
moly, did those boys slam this year?
Sorry, Sweden.
Yeah,
That
no,
might have
Simon,
been an
that's not your
actual
fault.
question.
Yeah, Simon, that's not your fault at all. That is just like a really strong joke that we've had going for a bit.
Yeah, Austria just like were good like in 2022. They destroyed in 2022. They did so well.
And then we have two more questions, and then I'm closing it up. Andrew asks, T-Sun and World Leaders have half-ass lines. What units would you like to see them add to complete them?
No,
Oh.
nothing. They're both fine. Leave them as they are.
That's not true. Come on.
You're right. Thousand Suns should lose the
Excuse
Beetle
me.
Vortex Beast and the Zangor because they're just not 40k models.
Stop. World leaders need not what they're gonna get, which makes me sad. Excuse me. I really could use like a jump unit, like just something with fly, like a nice raptor.
You have the
equivalent.
Helldrake.
Sure. But I really don't want Juggernaut cavalry, and I know I can see it coming, right? Like it's so obvious.
Oh yeah,
that's
it's
gonna
just
happen.
coming, right?
Yeah, and it's not going to be good. They're going to be like AP1 and suck, but that's what we're going to get. And hopefully, it doesn't take any of the power budget away from the good parts of the army.
7 bound that can go in rhinos.
I mean, that's what Nos played with.
Yeah.
No,
I think
Nos played
Red-
with 6
like,
bound because that's how many wins he got.
Red Butcher Terminators could be cool from a flavor perspective, like actual Red
yeah,
Butcher Terminators.
I would love that. I would love a reason to use the Terminators, because the current World Leader Terminators aren't just like not used because 8-bound are good. They're not used because the World Leader Terminators are actively bad. Like their rule is not good, their buffs are not good enough. There's not enough buffs to durability to make World Leaders Terminators worth using. But if we got like Red Butchers like they are in the books that Innis doesn't like, where they're like quick and slam, yeah, we could party then.
Just looking down the roster, you guys don't have Vindicators.
Shut up! Enough! Quiet, you!
Filers. No, you do get the Filers.
Warp
Hope
Talons
PSC gets
or
Legends.
like a
Fuck
jump
Innis.
pack. A jump pack infantry unit for them could be cool.
Yeah, that would be huge. Like I would love that. But
World
you'd
Leader
also
Berserker
Prince on Juggernaut
Talons.
Cavalry.
yeah, it's gonna be like it's gonna be something like that. It's gonna
You're
be
They do
Iron
need
Rod's
some
little
characters
brother.
too.
what need what?
Characters like
Oh, the
like a-
butcher
like a
surgeon.
Butcher Surgeon, maybe something that can go with any 8-bound, but also those units.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can.
pretty
I mean, I would love having
A lone op?
8-bound. No, fuck that. That's for other people. I've just accepted that we get when you get shot to death, as an objective is sticky, and that's World Leader lone op. Like an 8-bound character would be dope. Just like no buffs, he just owns. Like he's strength 12, AP3, damage 3. He doesn't buff the unit at all. He just fucks.
His special was just like, I have +1 damage on the regular guys.
Yeah, that's all he does. He's just got the 2 fists and +1 damage.
He's got 6,
2
so he
fists
can't-
and a
so he can
fighting
just go,
chance.
You can't buff it with Invocatus.
9 bound.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Gabe C is going to have the last question today, which is to Frank. Since you're big brained enough to be a super cool show host, what's the correct ratio of crankage per hog?
Thanks everybody for being with us this week. This has been Stat Check.
Please check out Dirtsheets, which is linked in the comments for this episode, as well as in the chat somewhere.
Oh, I figured out what I ran the outro video as the intro video. They're right next to each other, to be fair. I'm just looking at the buttons. Thanks everybody for being with us for this episode of Stat Check. Thank you so much again to Frank. Please go back and revisit all the plugs that we spoke about earlier if that's anything that interests you. But do remember patreon.com/40k Dirtsheets for access to Frank's everything, and check out the link in the description for the Tableau where Frank.
Whoa!
Really cool stuff
Not
is.
access to my everything.
Yeah, let's fucking
Look. You can
It's like
figure
access
out
to a
what the extra
spreadsheet.
tiers-
Let's
That's-
one step at a time.
That's everything in Frank's context. Look, you guys figure it out. I'm just here to press buttons badly. We'll see you all next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Good luck at any tournaments you're at. If you see me at Clan Wars, come and see my Norns. I'm playing 4 of them.
He won't be playing
Goodbye.
Battle Round 2.
No, just goodbye.